Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the Flow with Chloe channel. My name is Chloe. I'm an Amenorrhea recovery coach and an eating disorder recovery mentor. I help girls on their journey of developing a better relationship with food, learning how to actually nourish their body for health, and how to get their period back and get their fertility back. It's a really fun thing, and I really love this work. I really love this whole just journey in general. I think we as humans, we all have our journeys, every single one of us, and not one journey looks the same, right? So even though we might be like clumped into this is what I'm going through, it's also just individualistic. But we all have these journeys here, and I think this specific journey of like learning how to heal your relationship with food and heal your relationship with body is like a really cool, beautiful thing. So I just want to like, first off, just applaud you for being here, having the awareness that, hey, something is off, this isn't right, and I do need to go through this thing called recovery, because that's like the first big step, is like realizing that, and then like learning all these things, and then taking action from all those things that you learn. And I know for me, learning things was a huge part of my journey. I wanted to know, I wanted to understand, why is my period gone? How can I get it back? What are the things I can do? And I want to talk about something today that I know a lot of people get stuck on, or they kind of get hung up on when it comes to one of these quote unquote rules of recovery. So today we're going to be talking about the mythical, magical number of 2,500 calories. Should we be eating 2,500 calories for recovery, or should we just completely forget about that number and go about our merry way? So if you've ever been very kind of confused about this and want some insight from someone who has helped hundreds of women go through this whole process and like what it actually takes to get your period back, then hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and let's just get to it. The reason why I said a mythical, magical number is just that it's just a number. And a number isn't going to help you heal from your eating disorder and become completely recovered. Now, this number came to be because of a wonderful book called No Period, Now What by Dr. Nicola Rinaldi. Love her work, appreciate her so much in this space. She kind of threw out that idea of you need to have 2,500 calories in order to get your period back and heal. And I feel like ever since that kind of information started coming out, people started grabbing onto that number and thinking that it was like the magical holy grail of a number to reach in order to just become recovered and heal. And while 2,500 calories is a good amount of food, and it is probably a lot more than a lot of you guys are currently eating, is that enough? Question mark. Should we be like trying to reach for that? Question mark. If we just get to that, is that going to heal us? Question mark. And that's what I want to kind of address today, being someone who's worked with so many women on this journey. I think I have a kind of a good insight as to like, what is this 2,500 calorie number, and is it a super important thing to pay attention to? So let's dive into it. I think what I want to say first and foremost is that after having worked with so many women for multiple different stages, right? Some people come to me at the very beginning of their like process. Some people come to me at the like, I've been going through recovery for like 2 years. I've like gained quite a bit of weight back, but I'm not necessarily at like my healthy place because my period's not here, yada, 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 right? But something that I've like picked up from wherever anyone is at in their journey is that 2,500 calories is just simply not enough. And I know you might hate me, or I should say the ED voice really hates me. I think your healthy self really agrees with that and like really understands that like, ooh, yeah, that's right. There's more to recovery than just reaching this number, and just hitting this number might not be enough. So this is something that I like, again, I really love Dr. Nicola Rinaldi's work. And I think that she would totally agree with this in saying like, that's like bare minimum, like bare minimum. Like if we're just throwing out numbers because we're a number person and we want to talk numbers, this is the number I'm going to throw out as like the bare minimum. And I think that she would really kind of agree with that, because in all honesty, a lot of you guys have gone through very severe energy debt, really restricted your body, really over-exercised. I mean, for months, years, like decades, some of you guys, where it's like simply just eating 2,500 calories is not going to be enough, because you have to eat not only for today, like my energy levels today, everything that my body needs to do today, but you have to eat for the past, for all the reparations that need to be done. Oh my gosh, my liver needs to be strengthened. I need to be strengthening my immune system. I need to be building more, you know, white blood cells, cartilage, more of this. Like your body has so much to do. It needs to turn on its hormonal system again, like all of these things, that it's gonna take quite a bit of energy and nutrition, aka quite a bit of calories. I'm someone currently in my life who just hates numbers and never looks at my diet as far as like, this is a number that I'm reaching. But I decided to look online to be like, okay, what does 2,500 calories look like? Like, what does it look like? If this is like the magic number everyone's talking about, like, I'm curious to just have like a visual representation of like, what is that? Like, let me just see for my eyes, for my healthy, you know, self here, right? For my very trained eyes, like, is that going to be enough? From my own experience of, you know, going through recovery myself, and through the experience of helping others go through recovery, and through the experience of, you know, studying therapeutic nutrition and understanding kind of female physiology and what the body needs, right? So I looked it up. So I'm gonna look at my computer over here because I have all of this, and I'm just gonna put it up here for you guys, but that's why I'm looking this way. So just at first glance here, so let's take this first one. It's like an omelet with some berries, and I think that is just a little bit of like oatmeal. And then for a snack, it's like an orange with some sort of like probably chocolatey protein drink and like a little bag of chips. Then it's just, you know, chicken breast with a big thing of broccoli and rice, an apple, another little protein thing, and then like sweet potato steak and some asparagus and carrots, like a bunch of veggies. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, that's what 2,500 calories will get you? Like, that's what 2,500 calories will get you. I'm looking at that and I literally am going like, okay, yes, this is food. We have food here. Okay, again, it might be a lot more than a lot of you guys are currently eating. From my perspective, if I were to just eat this day in, day out, some sort of like replication of this day in, day out, I would have never recovered. Like, I would have slowly gotten better for sure, because this is more food than I was eating. I mean, again, like me as a healthy person, like I'm eating more than that in just a regular day, because I don't eat just like a huge thing of broccoli, right? And I don't eat just like boiled chicken and kind of like a, I don't know, it looks like a cheeseless omelet. Like, I'm someone who throws cream, like, you know, cream fresh and heavy cream and cheese and all of that in my omelets. And then I, you know, in my drink, I'll throw in collagen, I'll use whole milk, I'll use creamer. I eat really fatty meat, so I do a lot of like, brisket, pork ribs, beef ribs, pulled pork, like, bone marrow. I do a lot of bone marrow. I do a lot of more just like those type of meats. And then I'm not like making my plate like 50% veggies, which is kind of what's going on here. There's a lot of like fruits and veggies here, which is just kind of taking up a lot of space and making it look like a lot, but like nutritionally and calorically, how much are we actually getting out of that? Not so much. So I actually tend to eat way less on the veggie scale, especially after my years of digestive issues. you won't find me, it's very rare to find me eating like a big salad for lunch. Like I usually have like mashed potatoes with like salmon and, you know, cheese on top with maybe some onions, some caramelized onions. Like that's more my like kind of go-to. So it's a lot more just like packed in there. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, it's not a lot of food. It's not a lot of food for recovery. And so it's like we have in our mind this idea of like 2,500 calories. I just got to get 2,500 calories. And again, it's a good stepping stone, but don't block yourself there, honey. Don't be thinking that it's only about reaching the 2,500 calories, because we also have to look at like, what are those 2,500 calories? Because if I look at this over here, this seems like a pretty low fat way of eating, to be honest. Like it doesn't seem like there's a lot of like butter and cheese and cream and sauces and things like that. And I simply just don't know how much you're gonna be getting out of this as far as like really helping push recovery. Recovery is gonna require like a ton of eggs and meat and seafood and butter and olive oil and like fats from avocado and things like that. Like that's what recovery is going to really require. And when I look at this, I'm like, it just seems a little bit too plain to be like uber supportive for your recovery. And so what can happen when we start eating something like this kind of meal planning thing over here is that we slowly, again, we put on weight, we get our weight up, which is good, right? We slowly start feeling a little bit better. But then this is usually the time that people start working with me and they're like, I still have a ton of digestive issues. I still don't have my period back. I'm still like really cold all the time. I'm still peeing all the time. And they have all of these symptoms still left. And then it puts kind of a bad taste in their mouth for recovery, because they're like, well, recovery sucks. I'm still feeling all of these symptoms. Like my hair is still falling out. Like what's going on, Chloe? And I'll kind of analyze and kind of go through, okay, like what are you doing? What is your relationship with food? What type of foods are you eating? And it'll look something similar like this. And I'm like, I get it. That's great. Here are the improvements. Here's where we need to stop holding back. That rice, we should have a ton of butter in that rice. In fact, we should have a cream sauce over that steak. We should be adding more sweet potatoes than we are broccoli. We should be doing, you know, all these type of things, right? And when they really start going in that way of like, oh, I'm getting rid of this 2,500 calorie number. It was a great kind of mark for me to get used to like eating a certain amount, but like, I'm not gonna be just like tied to this. And now's the time that I'm going to let this go and I'm going to step into eating and focusing on nutrient dense foods. And as you focus on nutrient dense foods, like you automatically get up your calories enough, to be honest. Like, again, that's why I'm like, I look at my diet and I'm like, it seems a lot more than that, because I'm like, I know that I'm using, you know, whole milk, I'm using whole cream, I'm using creamer in my, you know, drinks, in my tea. I use creamer and brown sugar like every single day. Like I don't just drink, you know, plain tea. I'm buttering. I mean, I go through sticks of butter. I can't keep it in my house. I literally have butter sticks in my freezer now because I run out of butter so quickly. There's like jars of ghee that you can get at Costco. I'll run through a whole jar of that in a month, and that's just my ghee. That I only use for like special things. Like I don't use that for every single meal, right? So I know that I'm going through all of these things, that I'm using fattier pieces of meat. I'm not doing just lean chicken. I always get chicken with the skin on. I always like cook it in a good sauce. Like I know that I'm doing those type of things, and that has to add up to way more than the 2,500 calories. And again, I'm someone who's not actively trying to gain weight. I'm not in recovery. I'm just simply maintaining my health. And I think that I think we underestimate, even as healthy people. I think a lot of women are just underestimating how much they need. And we're all different, right? We all have our different needs and everything. But I think a lot of women out there are severely underestimating the amount of calories that they need to actually have proper hormonal function, and to have just like optimal just health and well-being. Lovely ladies, I'm just stopping this video for a second to pop in and say that I finally just released my new masterclass, Awakening Your Digestive Flow. This is for all of you guys who are stuck with really bad digestive issues in your recovery, who are wanting to move past that and wanting to feel good again after eating. This is something that a lot of you guys deal with, the constipation, the bloating, the indigestion, having different IBS and bacterial overgrowth, SIBO, all of that. There is a reason for it, and we can help you move past this. We can help you really truly understand your digestion and how to awaken its power so that you are fully digesting and assimilating your food and you're feeling good after eating. So the link is down below to my new masterclass. I'm really excited to help a lot of you guys really get amazing digestion, the digestion that you've been dreaming about when you are 2 weeks into constipation. I know how it goes because I was there, and I finally feel like I cracked the codes to understanding digestion and how to maintain it on a daily basis. And no, this has nothing to do even with what you're eating. It has nothing to do with detoxes or cleanses or buying a green protein powder. It does not have to do with that. This is the real deal. This is the stuff that's actually going to make a huge difference in your digestive power. So click the link down below to learn more and sign up. I know a lot of people that I've met here in Austin, they don't have an ED, right? So they're not dealing with any of that, but they're athletic, they're mindful of their food, and I look at what they're doing and I'm like, that doesn't seem like enough, like we'll go out to lunch and we'll make dinner at home, and I kind of watch how they, I'm not like pairing in like this, but it's just natural as someone who does this work. It's just natural. You can pick up on stuff really quickly. And I've just noticed something. So I'm like, yeah, we went out to get Thai food and they had this much rice, right? Because they didn't want to eat too many carbs. And then I hear later on that they're they have a very irregular cycle, or they're dealing with PCOS, or they're dealing with all of these things. And I'm like, yeah, your body's not getting all of the stuff you need because you think that you need to be eating way less than you actually should be eating for optimal health. And what was I gonna say here? And that's just for people who aren't even needing to repair from past damage of severe restriction, right? And so again, if you're coming from this place of I was depleted, severely depleted, I really depleted myself, you're gonna have to get comfortable eating more than this 2,500 calorie mark. When I work with girls, we work them up to the point of they're not counting, they're not tracking, they're not analyzing, they're not looking at their food in that way. Rather, they're learning how to just understand their body, how much they're gonna need to really support their recovery, but not in a number way. That's really important for me as a coach to help people do that, because it's we have to get out of this mathematical equation we're creating about food in our head. For full recovery, it's really going to require you stepping into a really healthy, beautiful connection with food, which for me involves no numbers. And so that's how I coach. I get people to not be tracking or looking at numbers, because I want them to just love their body so much that they have such a deep understanding of restriction is going to do this, holding back is going to do this type of diet's going to do this, aka hair loss, amenorrhea, all of those things. I don't want that. I'm choosing to really focus on making sure I'm getting enough, because I really want to make sure that I'm in a good, healthy place and that I maintain my fertility and I get my period back. So to wrap this all up, in the end of the day, do I believe in the 2,500 calorie thing? Yes and no, right? Yes, good start. No, don't stop there. And for you girls who are hitting those extreme hunger phases, which are extremely important in recovery, because this is a time for you to practice really letting go, really allowing your hunger to come and allowing your body to really make up a lot of the food and calories and nutrition that it needs to make up, you're probably hitting way bigger numbers than just simply 2,500, which again seems like a very just simple like average-ish diet, right? Again, that's just not going to be enough, and I wouldn't want anyone to be like, I just need to stick at this 2,500 calorie number to recover. And I'm like, no, you should be hitting days of extreme hunger where you're probably going way, way, way above that. And I don't want anyone to fear that, because that's necessary, and that's like super, super critical to go through that like experience of just like, I mean, I think back to what I was doing to get my period back and to fully like weight restore and stuff, and I'm like, it was insane. Like it felt at that time insane. I look at it now though, and I'm like, yeah, that's like, I would have a hard time maintaining my extreme hunger like eating schedule. I would have a very hard time right now maintaining that, just because it was designed to help me really, 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 really restore my body. And so I'm glad that I allowed it, and I didn't get caught on this whole like, I just need to evenly every day eat 2,500 calories. No, I needed to eat and make eating my job, which is what I did for like 5 months, and then I got my period back, and recovery just kind of, I mean, things just started clicking from there, because I really truly let go and really decided to just fully go all in with no maximum here as far as like how much I could eat in a day. I wanted to let go of numbers. I wanted to let go of any type of manipulation or control of things. I wanted to let go because I wanted to be free. If you guys are needing help and support through this, I would love to take you through that whole journey, because it's a really beautiful time when you finally stop seeing food as numbers, and you can finally start seeing food for what it truly is, which is nourishment and energy, and something here to really help support you in this whole recovery process, and not something that we need to be, you know, doing this with, kind of tracking, manipulating, keeping our eye on. We don't need to be doing that, and I understand that it's really hard to get out of that when you've been so in it. All you see is numbers, and so it can be really helpful to have someone there who's like guiding you through this whole process of, this is how you stop seeing it this way. This is how you step into a different relationship with food, and this is how we're going to make sure that you still continue forward and you maintain recovery even when we start taking away these numbers, because I know that for a lot of people, they're like, I do it for the numbers, I want to make sure I'm reaching those numbers, and like at a certain point you're just BSing yourself and blocking yourself, to be honest. Like at a certain point, that's what you're doing. We have to call a spade a spade. I've seen it so many times. And so I don't want you to get stuck in there, because again, that's the quasi recovery. And a lot of people think that they're getting to the land of recovered when they're still very, 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 very much in the land of quasi, because they haven't really let go, and they're still obsessing about food in a certain way, shape, or form, right? Whether it be tracking the macros or looking at the calories, or, you know, whatever it is, they're still holding back in some way. That's always going to keep those neural pathways of restriction alive. It's kind of like an alcoholic being like, you know what? I used to do 20 beers a day. I'm dropping it down to 2. And you'd be like, wow, that's amazing. 2 beers a day, that's normal. That's fine. You're totally good. But I'm like, the alcoholic's never going to get out of that addiction to alcohol if it even maintains a couple sips of alcohol a day. And that's the same thing here with recovery. Like, you're not going to get to full recovered unless you fully learn to let go of these numbers and let go of this, like, this unhealthy control over the food. So all of my stuff is down below for coaching, for my courses, and all of that. If you are interested, I just came out with a really fun masterclass. It's called Awakening Your Digestive Flow. This is for anyone who's dealing with all those digestive pains that come with recovery, the bloating, the constipation, the indigestion, the SIBO, the H. pylori, like all of these things that start just like happening, right, that are really impacting your recovery. You can't move forward because you're like, I'm doubled over in pain after I eat. This masterclass is designed to help you truly understand what's going on so that you can be making huge shifts. And they're not just dietary shifts. In fact, there's only like one lesson that's talking about food. The rest of it is all about the, I don't really want to say here. It's helping you understand what truly matters when it comes to your digestion and what's going to actually truly make a huge shift in your digestion. And this isn't just for recovery, this is for your life, so you understand these things so that you can forever have good digestion. It's forever changed my digestion. I was in so much pain before, and now I'm just not in any. Which is amazing. So that is new, and that's all down below. And I think that's all I had for this video. If you had any questions, again, coaching is a great way to kind of go through those questions, those doubts, those fears, those how do I do this? Like, what's the next step? How do I do this, Clothen? That's why there's an application to coaching down below. I will also answer as much as I can in the comments. So thanks guys for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.